Sharp. Adjective. 1. Able to cut easily. For example, I keep my knives sharp so that they don't slip unexpectedly while carving. 2. Colloquial, intelligent. For example, my nephew is a sharp lead, he can count to 106 languages, and he's only 5 years old. 3. Terminating in a point or edge, not obtuse or rounded. For example, Ernest made the pencil too sharp and accidentally stabbed himself with it. 4. Music, higher than usual by 1 semitone, denoted by the symbol after the name of the note. 5. Music, higher in pitch than required. For example, the orchestra's third violin several times was sharp about 1/8 of a tone. 6. Having an intense, acrid flavor. For example, Millie couldn't stand sharp cheeses when she was pregnant, because they made her nauseated. 7. Sudden and intense. For example, a pregnant woman during labor normally experiences a number of sharp contractions. 8. Colloquial, illegal or dishonest. For example, Michael had a number of sharp entries that he kept off the books. 9. Colloquial, keenly or unduly attentive to one's own interests, shrewd. For example, a sharp dealer, a sharp customer. 10. Exact, precise, accurate, keen. For example, you'll need sharp aim to make that shot. 11. Offensive, critical, or acrimonious. For example, sharp criticism. 12. Colloquial, stylish or attractive. For example, you look so sharp in that tuxedo. 13. Observant, alert, acute. For example, keep a sharp watch on the prisoners. I don't want them to escape. 14. Forming a small angle, especially, forming an angle of less than 90 degrees. For example, drive down Main for 3/4 of a mile, then make a sharp right turn onto Pine. 15. Steep, precipitous, abrupt. For example, a sharp ascent or descent, a sharp turn or curve. 16. Mathematics, of a statement, said of as extreme a value as possible. For example, sure, any planar graph can be 5-colored, but that result is not sharp. In fact, any planar graph can be 4-colored. That is sharp. The same can't be said for any lower number. 17. Just, tactical, risky. 18. Piercing, keen, severe, painful. For example, a sharp pain, the sharp and frosty winter air. 19. Eager or keen in pursuit, impatient for gratification. For example, a sharp appetite. 20. Obsolete, fierce, ardent, fiery, violent, impetuous. 21. Composed of hard, angular grains, gritty. For example, sharp sand. 22. Phonetics, dated, uttered in a whisper, or with the breath alone, aspirated, unvoiced. Sharp. Adverb. 1. To a point or edge, piercingly, eagerly, sharply. For example, can we find and add a quotation of M. Arnold to this entry? 2. Not comparable, exactly. For example, I'll see you at 12 o'clock sharp. 3. Music, in a higher pitch than is correct or desirable. For example, I didn't enjoy the concert much because the tenor kept going sharp on the high notes. Sharp. Noun. 1. Music, the symbol, placed after the name of a note in the key signature or before a note on the staff to indicate that the note is to be played a semitone higher. For example, the pitch pipe sounded out a perfect F, F sharp. 2. Music, a note that is played a semitone higher than usual, denoted by the name of the note that is followed by the symbol. 3. Music, a note that is sharp in a particular key. For example, the piece was difficult to read after it had been transposed, since in the new key many notes were sharps. 4. Music, the scale having a particular sharp note as its tonic. For example, Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata is written in C minor, C sharp minor. 5. Usually in the plural, something that is sharp. For example, place sharps in the specially marked red container for safe disposal. 6. A sharp tool or weapon. 7. Medicine, a hypodermic syringe. 8. Medicine, dated, a scalpel or other edged instrument used in surgery. 9. A dishonest person, a cheater. For example, the casino kept in the break room a set of pictures of known sharps for the bouncers to see. 10. Part of a stream where the water runs very rapidly. For example, can we find and add a quotation of Charles Kingsley to this entry? 11. A sewing needle with a very slender point, more pointed than a blunt or between. 12. In the plural, middlings. 13. Slang, dated, an expert. 14. A sharpie eye, member of Australian gangs of the 1960s and 1970s. Sharp. Verb. 1. Music, to raise the pitch of a note half a step making a natural note a sharp. For example, that new musician must be tone deaf, he sharped half the notes of the song. 2. To play tricks in bargaining, to act the sharper. For example, can we find and add a quotation of Lestrange to this entry?